Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Marketing Monday. This will be the last Marketing Monday live stream of May because in the United States, we have something called Memorial Day coming up. So that will be next Monday, and it's a national holiday. People typically get the day off. And so I will not be doing a Marketing Monday live stream because I'll have my kids and my husband. Everybody will be here. But in the United States, so in case you don't know, I'm a U.S. Army veteran. So in the United States, Marketing Monday. Save me. Memorial Day. They both start with M's. But Memorial Day is a day that we take to honor those who have fallen in service to their country. So that is Memorial Day, and it is on Monday. So I will not be going live. Instead, kind of reflecting with my husband, who's also a veteran, on this particular holiday, and of course, talking to my kids about it because we have a lot of service members in our family. Both of my grandfathers served in the Navy, and I have an older brother and a younger sister who were both in the Air Force. And then, like I said, I was in the Army. So that is where we're at for today. So this is the last Marketing Monday of May, and my birthday was just yesterday. So I'm actually wearing earrings from my aunt. I love her so much. Thank you. And let's see what we've got. Good morning, Lorvel. So nice to have you here. And before we get started into today's topic, I'm just going to go ahead and have a couple of announcements. So just today, the newest podcast episode that released is called Not Everything is a Limiting Belief. So if you missed that live stream some weeks ago, it is now available on the podcast. So you'll definitely want to go ahead and listen to that. And then what's coming up on Thursday, our guest is Shay Cook, who is a certified financial coach and counselor. She is the founder of Crusaders for Change, and she actually works here locally to me here in Maryland. And I just had to have her on my podcast with everything that I've come to know about her. So stay tuned for that episode, which will be going live on Thursday. Really excited about that. We're going to learn about her journey and how far she's come. And then the following week, she'll have another episode where she gives us some of her expertise. And I'm not going to ruin the surprise. I will tell you about it next week. But definitely today, you can definitely learn about how limiting beliefs are being used and to manipulate you or manipulate people through the marketing, sales, and client experience process with different coaches and consultants. So that is the announcements I have, as well as the next Why workshop. I'm trying something new. It will be on a Saturday. So if you've been like, oh, I really do want to do the Why workshop, I want to go through that discovery process, and you haven't been able to, fit it in during the weekdays that I've done it, I'm testing out a different day, and I am going to try Saturday. So if that's something that you're interested in, send me a DM, drop a comment, something like that, and I will get the link over to you so you can check it out. But the Why workshop has, gotten crazy awesome testimonials and reviews, and some of those are available on the landing page for you to watch. So thank you. Oh, thank you. Yes. Happy belated birthday. Thank you so much, Lorvel. I appreciate you. Yes. Okay. So much like in weeks past, my plan for today is to, so those were the announcements. My plan for today is to go through my planned content pretty much without stopping. So that way it's easier to get it over onto the podcast. But as I'm going through, please put your questions, put your statements. If any of the things I'm saying, definitely resonate with you, then go ahead and drop those things in the comments, because once I get through the content, which is great for anybody who kind of needs to consume it and go, we can kind of hang out, and we can, I can take the opportunity to answer any of your questions and any of your contributions. So thank you, everybody, for joining me for another Marketing Monday. I am your host, Ruthie Bowles, founder of Defy the Status Quo, and we are a small branding and marketing consultancy that focuses on radical authenticity in the brand, as well as expression of that radical authenticity in your marketing. And today, what we're going to talk about is this idea of accelerating the speed of trust. So your clients, your audience, they move at the speed of trust. And don't get me wrong, you can't control other people. You have no agency over the choices that they choose to make. But what can you control? You can control your contributions to your shared environment with your audience, with your prospects. So, how are you contributing to the environment in such a way that it accelerates the speed of their trust, that it accelerates the development of a bond of trust with you? And that is really the big question that we're looking to answer here today, because you can't control other people. You should not try to control other people. But if we're in a shared space, me and you, how can I introduce things to the environment that communicate that I am trustworthy, that I am deserving of your respect, that we vibe, that we resonate, right? So those are the types of things that we're going to talk about today. And that's the thing. Your brand is a major tool for accelerating the speed of trust. Your brand offers a few different things. There are a few different tools inherently built within a brand that allow you to accelerate the speed of trust with your audience. So there are three things that I'm going to focus on today. Three things that you can use that are just inherently built into your brand, or should be. They're inherently built into your brand if I help you develop it, for sure. But there are three things that you can use in your brand to accelerate the speed of trust with your audience, to accelerate the speed of trust with your prospects, and to maintain and continue to accelerate the speed of trust with your clients. So I hope you're ready. Diving right into it today. The first thing, consistency. Consistency within your brand accelerates the speed of trust, because this is what happens. Let's say the first time you've encountered me is through this live stream or through this podcast episode, and you're like, wow, what Ruthie has to say, wow, that really, I'm resonating with that. I'm really vibing with that. And it's like, great. But then you start to check me out on different social media platforms. You check out, websites and reviews, testimonials, and all of that. And it doesn't quite sound like what I initially sounded like. So my messaging, my tone could be inconsistent across different platforms, which gives you a moment of pause. Wait, I thought she was like this. I thought her and Defy the Status Quo were like this, but now they're kind of seeming like maybe they're like this over here. I don't know about that. Inconsistency slows down. It decelerates the speed of trust. So when you consistently present yourself and your brand across all channels, virtual, in person, direct mail, email, live streams, social media, TikTok, YouTube, consistent presentation increases the speed of trust. One of the ways to do that is to go through a brand discovery process, because what tends to happen is you may start to discover different bits and parts and pieces of your brand as you go through, posting to different social media platforms, interviewing on different types of podcasts and things like that. But when you go through an intentional brand discovery process, it helps you stay consistent, because you go through an intentional discovery process that helps you dig deep in a relatively condensed amount of time. So it's less likely that these things will pop up and surprise you and then cause you to present your brand and yourself as inconsistent. So that's the first thing, consistency. One of the three main things that are inherently built into a strong brand, a brand that's got some depth, a brand that's got humanity in it. The next thing is one of the prerequisites for authenticity, which is courage. You need two things for authenticity, and authenticity absolutely needs to be in your brand, but you need two things for that, and one of those things is courage. Of course, before courage, you have to feel fear, so I guess it's even like a prerequisite to that, but I digress. You need courage. You need courage to authentically show up as yourself. You need courage to present yourself authentically. And without courage, it allows you, if you have courage, Let me start over. If you have courage, you've accepted your fear, and you're willing to hit publish anyway. I don't know if people are going to like this one. I might have gone too far with this one. Ruthie, is anybody actually listening? Yes, they are. Yes, they are. And right now, we are going to use courage because we don't have confidence yet. We're going to use courage and keep going. The trick here, this is a secret I'm going to tell you. Whenever we are doing anything that pushes us even a little bit outside of our comfort zone, we tend to need to lean on courage more than we need to lean on confidence because it's new. Okay, so even the people you admire so much, they're way up there, and you're like, they're just crushing it. They're so great. They must be confident all of the time. No, there are times if they are continuing to grow, which means they are continuing to step outside of their comfort zone. If they are continuing to grow, they are still leaning on their courage, but they've exercised that courage muscle, if you will. So the final thing that you need. So remember, you need two things for authenticity. The first one is courage. The second one is vulnerability. Vulnerability. So you're going to need courage because you're going to need to get vulnerable. It is typically within our vulnerability that we express our humanity on a deep level. It is typically within our vulnerability that other people see our humanness. And it is a foundation. Our vulnerability is a foundation for trust. Every time I get vulnerable, I am adding more bricks to the bridge of trust between us. And the more genuine, the more vulnerable, the more authentic you can show up as, you build a stronger bridge. If you don't put a lot into it and it remains very shallow, then you are essentially building a rope bridge. You're building a rope bridge. It'll get the job done usually. It cannot accommodate a lot of traffic because it's a rope bridge, and it could easily fall apart. It degrades much faster over time. But if you get really human, really, because that's what it is, isn't it? If you get really human, if you get really authentic, if you get radically authentic, you are building a bridge that is not only beautiful in its architecture, but is strong enough to withstand eons of time. So the value of your vulnerability is in how courageous you can be in your vulnerability. That's your authenticity, courageous vulnerability. You need courage to get vulnerable. And I'm not saying that, again, so this is something I've said in the past. Your story, the stories that you choose to share, you share scars, not wounds. So sharing a story should not rip you open. It is not a sacrificial pyre that you must go and bleed and burn on every time you choose to share a story. So scars, not wounds. But we still, we have scars that we're like, oh, that's embarrassing. I don't want to share that. What if people, don't consider it valid? Trust me, we all go through it when we're trying to determine the stories that we want to share. But the reward is greater than the risk. And so, finally, I just want to touch on something. It's an aspect of emotional intelligence, and it is called holistic communication. And so this is your ability to send and receive messages, not just the spoken messages, but also the emotional messages, right? Because about 7% of a message is in what is said. About 35-ish% is in the tone. I have to explain this to my kids all the time. Like when my 9-year-old is like, well, I said sorry. And I was like, Dwayne, there's a difference between going sorry and sorry. Right? And you hear that. So there's a whole lot of difference in the tone there. So 35% of your message is tone. And then the rest of it, right? So 7% is spoken, 35% is tone, and the rest of it is everything else. Your nonverbal communications, your body language, facial expressions, all of that stuff, right? That's the rest of it. And so holistic communication, some people are great at sending. Some people are great at receiving. The key to a strong brand and the key to accelerating the speed of trust is to get great at both. Your inability to articulate what it is that you believe, what it is that you want for your clients, what you see for the future of your business, your inability to articulate a clear brand is an authenticity blocker. It will get in the way of people understanding what it is that you want to do. And if you struggle to receive messages from your audience, you're not quite sure, geez, what is it that I can offer my audience? Why is no one, picking up what I'm putting down? That also is an authenticity blocker, in that because you cannot receive the messages, you do not know how to effectively communicate. So that is it in a nutshell. You want to accelerate the speed of trust with your audience, with your clients, so you can have a bigger impact. So yes, of course, you can make more revenue, but you can have a bigger impact, help more people, get the message out there. Then you need to use your brand to accelerate that speed of trust. And you do that through consistency, consistent messaging across the board, consistent mood, consistent tone, consistent voice, all of those things across the board. You're going to need to get courageous and step outside of your comfort zone so you can use vulnerability to build the strongest bridge possible between you and your audience. So, thank you so much for joining, listening. If you have any messages for me, you can leave a voice memo using the Anchor app, or go ahead and send me a DM across any of the platforms. You can find me as Ruthie Bowles or Defy the Status Quo. And I'm more than happy if you want to go ahead and contribute on this topic. I'm more than happy to hear what you have to say. So let's go ahead and check out the comments. What do we have here? Okay. Oh, Lorvell, he was taking some awesome notes here in the comments. So TLDR, if you catch this later, he left some awesome comments. Lorvell, thank you. I appreciate you. And thank you so much for sharing and for the belated wishes for my birthday. I appreciate it so much. And so, yes, so just a reminder, Why Workshop, June 12th. It's on a Saturday. So if it's something you haven't been able to make it to the Why Workshop in the past, go ahead and check that out. Just drop a comment, send me a DM. I'll send you the link. And new episode on the podcast. Not everything is a limiting belief. That episode is live today. And then on Thursday, we will have our first episode with the amazing certified personal finance coach and counselor, Shay Cook. And I hope to see you in and about and around the Defiant Business Facebook group, because I'll be going live there this week as well. And also tomorrow, Tuesday, 9 a.m., join the Clubhouse room in the Entrepreneurs Lab. I am leading it. It is called the Radically Authentic Entrepreneur. That's on Tuesdays. And tomorrow we will be talking about birthing a brand to build a community. So I will see you tomorrow. Bye.